Are you looking for frugal living tips that you can use now and for the rest of your life? In this video, I'm going to share with you my top 10 tips for successful, lifelong frugal living. Welcome, I'm Amy, and here at Frugal Over 50, I give you tips and tools for frugal living. Para mis amigas de habla hispana, bienvenido. Hoy vamos a hablar de mis 10 tips favoritos para la vida frugal. Tip number 1, know your why. It's easy to get caught up in frugal living videos where we run around the house and pick out little things that we can do every day, and that is super important. But before you do that, I would encourage you to sit down and think really hard about what is your particular reason for frugal living. Is it because you find yourself in some sort of a financial difficulty or even a crisis right now in this moment? Is it, on the other hand, something about planning for the future or even leaving wealth to the next generation? Or is it something that I haven't named here? Whatever your why is, what is your reason? It may seem really obvious to you, but I'm asking you to make it not just obvious and in the background, but stated and out front. What is your why? Why are you living frugally? What has been the motivating factor to make you decide, this is it, frugal living, that's for me? Know your why. Number 2, know what frugal living actually is. Bola Sokumbi of Clever Girl Finance tells us that frugal living is the act of being very intentional with your spending. It's very simple. Frugal living as a concept can seem quite big, quite overarching, quite broad, and that's the reason for this video, and it's the reason for this tip. You need to understand what it is. It's not just a concept. It's an activity of spending intentionally, spending on things that you decide to spend on. And that leads us to our next tip, number 3, which is stop and think before you spend money. Now, you may have some part of your financial life automated, and I think that's a great idea, particularly when it comes to recurring costs like things related to housing or utilities or debt payments or that sort of thing. It's good to automate those. Think about those things once, not every single time, but even with the automated payments, go back and review them and think, do I need to pay this in this way? Do I need to do it in a little different way? And then with those everyday things where you just think, I could spend this $5, or maybe I should get that at the grocery store. Stop and think before you spend the money. And sometimes that will cause you to say to yourself, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? Why was I wanting to spend that money? Other times you will say, oh yeah, I got to get that, and into the cart it goes. The point is not here to stop yourself from spending, but to stop yourself from spending without thinking. Think before you spend your money. Number 4 is a favorite topic of frugal people everywhere. If you meet somebody frugal, we're going to start talking about this. Save your money in small ways throughout each and every day. I love having conversations with you folks down in the comments about what you saved money on today. What were you thinking about spending but you didn't? Or what did you used to spend money on but you're not now? In fact, tell me down below in the comments, what are some small things that you were doing to save money today? One thing that I'm going to do today is, as soon as I get done recording this video, I'm going to make my coffee and I'm going to drink it at home. I do love a good coffee made for me by a barista, I have to confess, and I allot some money in my budget for that. But on an everyday basis, that can get very expensive, and so I save money in small ways by becoming my own barista. And you know what? It's kind of fun, and I can make my coffee however I want it. It's delicious. I also have a little trick that I like to use to save money after I have spent money. I save my receipts, and I use my Fetch Rewards app to either collect the receipts directly from my email or my Amazon, or to actually snap a picture of my paper receipts, and I collect points on those receipts, which I can then use to go and have a barista make me a coffee, and I didn't pay. I saved money, and I get a little treat at the end of it. I've talked about Fetch here a lot before, and a lot of you actually love it, but if you have not yet signed up, use my link down below in the description and you can get $2 free just for signing up today. I love Fetch. It's a great way to save money in a small way. What is your favorite way to save in a small way? Number 5, know your net worth. Your net worth is an expression that means that you go into all of your accounts, your checking accounts, your savings accounts, your investment accounts, your retirement account from work, your 529s for the kids or the grandkids, those credit cards and other debt that you have. You add and or subtract, and you come to a final number, and that is your current net worth. What is the value of knowing your net worth? One thing that it can tell you is how much cash you have versus how much debt you have, and it can tell you in a concrete way. And it can actually be encouraging to just get clear on, these are the numbers. It can also be scary, so I understand that you may want to take this a little bit at a time. but knowing your net worth tells you where you are financially at this moment. And that can then give you a sense of what you need to do next. It gives you a snapshot of where you are right now so that you can be clear. Now, if you're getting some clear value out of this video, would you give it a like and consider subscribing? I'd love to invite you to join the Frugal Over 50 family. Number 6, coming out of all of the tips that I've given before, one of the most important things you can do is to keep track of your money using a budget. Not just keeping track of the little things that you spend every day, but keeping track of your financial priorities going forward. Having a budget can help you to do that. You may be the sort of person who likes to keep track of your budget in a very detailed, penny by penny way. And you also may be a person who likes your budget to be more of a big picture thing, so that you are not actually keeping track of every single penny that you spend in every single moment of every single day, but rather looking at larger chunks of money. There's so many strategies for budgeting, and the key is to find something that works for you, stick with it, and then change your method of budgeting when it seems like it's not working. It could be a matter of just sitting down with a pencil and paper and writing down the expenses that you have coming up, the income that you have coming in to pay them, and just getting started with the ball rolling that way. But it's really important to budget. Number 7, imagine and then plan for your future. A lot of times in the world of frugal living, we think very concretely about this activity that I'm going to do, this thing that I'm not going to spend money on, and we're thinking about the everydayness of it all. Step back and imagine the life that you want and plan how you will get there. Now, I sometimes do this in a very silly way. I imagine, what would happen if I win the lottery? This is silly for a couple of reasons. Almost nobody wins the lottery, and I don't play the lottery. So it is a bit silly for me to imagine. But what if I won some sort of big jackpot? What would my life look like, and what would I do? And sometimes I'll just make a list, either mentally or I'll just write it down. And then I'll say to myself, which of these things could I plan for and plan to do? And it may take a longer time, but what can I do to make my life look like the dream that I have? For instance, maybe you want to save money so that you can travel more. That might involve downsizing your living space and moving to a more walkable neighborhood so you can save on your everyday expenses, and then you have money that you have left for travel. What are your future dreams that you are hoping to make reality and that you can plan to make reality? If not now, then at some time later. Number 8, we need to expect emergencies. We need to expect crises. We need to expect downturns. And a lot of times what blocks us from living what we feel like is our most frugal life, our best frugal life, is something happens. You develop an illness that may knock you out of the workforce for a while or forever. You lose your home in a natural disaster. You suffer a painful personal loss of some kind. You lose a job. The economy of the planet changes. You go through a global pandemic. There are so many things that we cannot predict. And a lot of times when we think about things like budgeting and planning and imagining, we're imagining that the situation that we are in at this exact moment in time is the situation that we will be in forever. And in fact, we all know, if you're over 50, you know that that's not the case. Life has its ups, and life does indeed have its downs. And it's possible you may have done something to create or to contribute the crisis that you find yourself in, or the difficulty that you find yourself in. We all do things that don't always benefit us just because in the moment it felt good, sure. But it's also possible that life just happened. We also need to remember that just because something bad happens doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It doesn't mean you did something wrong. And it doesn't mean necessarily that there's any simple or easy or direct way to get out of it. Remember the old saying, bad things happen to good people. It's true. It happens to all of us. And while it's not going to feel okay, it doesn't mean you've done something wrong on your frugal journey. Keep going. Stay the course. You can do this. This leads straight into number 9, which is to take the long view. If we get caught up in the ups and downs of the way our global economy works, it rises really fast and then it crashes really fast. There's hyperinflation in some countries, slight inflation in other countries right now. It's really hard to know where to look. And I suggest that we look ahead. What do I want in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20, in 30? For those who are a bit younger, 40 and 50 years from now, where do you want to be? For those of us who are thinking about the legacy that we want to leave of the next generation, think about what is that legacy? What do you want to leave? And in the moment when things are difficult, when you're trying to make that spending decision, when yet another crisis has landed on your doorstep, when we take the long view, we can take the bumps, we can take the ups and downs. Not necessarily easier, because stuff that's hard is just hard. but we can take them and continue to move forward, and then tomorrow will be new and new things will come. Now we have one more, but I have left it blank. Number 10 is your tip. I would invite you to go down into the comments and put number 10 and then tell me, what is your favorite lifelong frugal living tip? I can't wait to learn from you. What are your favorite frugal living tips? Vicki, who co-wrote the classic book Your Money or Your Life, said, "Frugality is enjoying the virtue of getting good value for every minute of your life energy and from everything you have the use of." I hope that these tips have helped you to center your mind around frugal living so that you can make those everyday frugal living decisions that you know you need to make. You can do this, and I'm so proud of you, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Nos vemos pronto. Bye!